everyone, my name is Izzati binti ZAIDI, and today I will be talking about a grammar topic that can make your English sound more advanced and also expressive. So today's topic is going to be about inversions. So what are an inversion? Inversions are when we change the normal word order in a sentence. You might have seen or heard them in English books, movies, or sometimes even songs. We use them for a different reasons. Sometimes just to ask questions, sometimes to make something sound more formal and dramatic, and sometimes just to emphasize an idea. So by the end of this presentation, you will understand the main types of inversions and how to use them in your own writing. Normally, in normal sentence, we use the subject plus verb with order. For example, she is coming. Here, she is the subject and coming is the verb. But with an inversion, we flip the order to verb plus subject. So instead of she is coming, we might say is she coming. So this kind of structure is most common in questions, but it is also used for emphasis and in more formal or creative styles of writing. Inversions can feel a bit tricky at first, but once you start to learn the patterns, they become easier to spot and use. There are several types of inversions we use in English, and today we will go through 6 of the most common ones. They are the first one is questions, negative adverbials, conditional inversions, so or such inversions, only phrases, and the last one is place expressions. Each of these follows a slightly different rule, so I will explain them one by one with examples. So moving on to questions inversions. The first and most familiar type is inversions in types of questions. Whenever we ask a yes or no questions or a WH questions, we invert the subject and the verb. For example, the normal sentence we would say you are coming, but in inversion we would say are you coming? The helping verb are comes before the subject you. And other example that I can give is she can drive, but in inversion we say can she drive? So this is something we use all the time without we even realizing it. Next, moving on to negative adverbials. So the second type happens when we start a sentence with negative adverbials. For example, never, hardly, rarely, little, not only, and so on. So these words add emphasis, and when they come at the beginning of a sentence, they trigger an inversion. For example, in normal sentence, I have never seen such a mess. But in inversion, we say, never have I seen such a mess. Here, have I is the inversion. This form sounds more dramatic. Now, let's look at conditional inversion, which is a more formal way of writing conditional sentences. Normally, we use if in conditional. If I had known, I would have called. But in formal writing, we can remove if and invert the subject and verb. For example, had I known, I would have called. Some common inversion patterns are also like had plus subject plus past participle. For example, had I studied, I would have passed. Another one, should plus subject plus base verb. For example, should you need help, let me know. The fourth one is so or such inversion, which is used to add strong emphasis or often used in storytelling or dramatic situations. So the structure is going to be like so plus adjective plus verb plus subject. For example, so tired was he that he passed out. It makes the sentence stand out and adds more emotional weight. Another example that I can give you is such was her talent that everyone applauded. The next one is only phrases. These are phrases that begins with only. For example, we have only then, only later, only after, only by, and so on. So when we start a sentence with one of these phrases, we also invert the word order. For example, only after the test did I realize my mistake. In normal sentence, we say I realized my mistake only after the test. But inversion adds more focus and sounds more formal or literary. So that is why it becomes only after the test Did I realize my mistake? Finally, we have the place expressions, where a sentence begins with a phrase showing a location or direction, followed by an inversion. For example, on the table was a box of toys. Normally, we would say a box of toys was on the table, but starting with the place phrase and inverting the verb and subject gives it a more descriptive or story-like feeling. Another example that I can give you is in the corner stood a tall man. This kind of inversion is common in writing descriptions, especially in stories or novels. Okay, so now you might be wondering, why do we even use inversions? Well, there are a few good reasons, and they actually help make our English sounds better. First, inversions help us add emphasis. That just means we can make a part of the sentence stand out more. Like the previous example, instead of saying, I have never seen such a mess, we say, never have I seen such a mess. It feels stronger and a bit more dramatic, right? Second, inversions can make our sentences sound more formal or stylish, especially in writing. For example, I give you the previous example, if I had known, I would have called, becomes, had I known, I would have called. Same meaning, but it sounds more professional, right? Third, inversions are great for creating drama or impact, especially in stories or speeches. Imagine saying, so angry was he that he couldn't speak. It just sounds more intense than the normal way. And finally, using inversions add variety to your sentences. If you always follow the same pattern, subject, verb, object, your writing might be a bit boring. Inversions help you mix things up and keep your audience interested. Here are some exercises that we can try together. Just pick the one that is correct. The first question is about question inversion. Which one is the correct question form of you like pizza? A. Like you pizza? B. Do you like pizza? So the correct answer would be B. Do you like pizza? The second one is negative adverbial. Which sentence uses inversion correctly? Never I have seen such a thing. B. Never have I seen such a thing. So the answer would be B. Never have I seen such a thing. The third one, conditional inversion. What is the correct inverted version of if I had known, I would have helped? A. Had I known, I would have helped. B. If had I known, I would have helped. So the correct one is A. Had I known, I would have helped. The fourth one is so or such inversion. Which one is correct? A. So beautiful he was that everyone looked at him. B. So beautiful was he that everyone looked at him. So the correct answer is B. So beautiful was he that everyone looked at him. Number 5 is only phrase inversion. Pick the correct sentence. A. Only after the test, I understood the answer. B. Only after the test did I understand the answer. So the correct answer would be B. Only after the test did I understand the answer. And the last one is place expression inversion. Choose the correct version. A. The children played at the park. B. In the park were many children. So the correct answer would be B. In the park were many children. Alright, let's wrap things up. So basically, inversion is when we switch the usual word order in a sentence, like putting the verb before the subject. We usually do this to ask questions, add emphasis, or make our writing sound more formal. Inversions actually make your English sounds more advanced and way more interesting, especially in writing, speeches, or storytelling. At first, the rules might seem a little weird, but once you get the hang of it, they are not that hard. Try using just one or two in your next essay or presentation. You will see how much they level up your language. So, inversion are not just some grammar rule, they are a cool way to make your English sound stronger, smarter, and more interesting. And I think that's all for me. Thank you for listening. I hope you learned something useful today. Goodbye.